Hello, my name is Justin Locklear, and this is another episode of Conversations in the Void. Tonight, we'll be speaking with an artist who graduated from the University of Texas in Dallas with his Master's in Fine Arts. He is represented by Ro2 Gallery and has recently been conducting several creativity enhancement workshops in the Dallas area. He is a sculptor, painter, and installation artist. On the show tonight, we're honored to have Val Curry. Thank you for joining us tonight, Val.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
I want to start talking about your sculptural work. Having seen some of your work, I want to get into your forms. They're very unique. How did you find yourself creating your forms? And also, how do you describe them? How do you define them as an artist?
Okay. The way that I describe my sculpture forms are, there's two kinds of visual styles. There's the accretions, which are kind of amorphous, very densely packed. And then there's the spiral forms, which are kind of an abstraction of a spiral, like a helix opened up and twisted. They're both created from the same materials, found and collected toys, used toys, garbage, e-waste. A lot of it was found in roadside people's garbages, and also collecting from, the thrift store, collecting from friends. That was a big source of material from my friends who had little children who got a little bit too old, and their garages were filled up with all these toys, and I just saw that as a medium that had so much variety and visual texture and history as well. As a big part of it, and all that, I don't know, just kind of invisible, like etheric energy in the materials, and just like a raw material, interesting raw material to work with. Mm-hmm. Gave me a lot of variation. So I guess those are the two kinds of forms. There's a lot of variation in those, and I guess I touched on a little bit about how that started. When I first started, I would say, my process was dictated by my inability or kind of lack of focus or concentration on, taking the time to be like a traditional sculptor. Also, I'm not great at figure drawing. I mean, I can do it, but it's so tedious. I kind of that fast, just want to get in, kind of get it done, get the final work finished.
Do you see these forms as a way to kind of sculpt, because you're kind of throwing it together in a faster?
Yes, I can see it at more stages of the process. I can see it as a finished entity.
Oh, of course. Well, because you do describe the layer of epoxies and resins.
Oh yes. So I'll find all these toys. I'll get all those toys. I have it. And it's just so many forms. I love the variation of forms. I'm not having to come up with that firsthand. I can put something on, sort of basically create a mess or create a mistake or a failure, and work from that rather than having us, have that fear of a blank canvas. And one of the things is, I'm not saying I'm too creative, but I have so many ideas. So giving that infinite opportunity is a hindrance, whereas okay, here's your constraints. Mm-hmm. For me, that works better.
I like that. So when people view your work, how important is it relevant to you that the viewer is aware of your history to connect with your work?
Okay. The more that I work, I would say that's getting more important. I'm not necessarily thinking about that when I'm doing it.
Okay. Well, the reason I say is that there's such a visual narrative in what you use already.
Yeah.
In terms of the figures, in terms of the toys, in terms of the objects. People read into that in their own lives.
Okay.
So in a way, do you see any part of you in them, or is it just the process?
Yes, I do see a lot of myself in them. And that's getting more so the more I do it. When I first started working, it was not that. I was kind of trying to recreate nature processes more so than things. I liked molecules and the spiral, like a growth spiral, like that movement of growth. Trying to create that. Some of the formal pieces, though, I would see those as, dense nucleus of atoms, and it's just the binding together of like a planet, So those are some of the things that are going on in my head. But like when I started to create them, like a different visual would come about, kind of that, make a mess and then respond to that. So I guess the more I work on it, I'm seeing this thread of how I work and what I create. I don't know if it definitely influences my life, but I'm seeing those parallels, like super chaotic environment, and I'm noticing more chaos in my life. So I'm trying to see if I can evolve that to where I've like more control over what I create, how that influences me inside my life. I guess it tie into the whole, visualization process. Right. So like artwork, not just making this thing and putting it into the world, whether it's beneficial or not, I'm trying to like connect those two. The things I create are, icons or totems that re-influence my psyche.
So is there a kind of a ritual to it? When you say the word totems, like there in the most recent show that I saw of yours was your MFA show. Okay. And it involved placing objects in space, and it seemed to give meaning. Was there meaning? I mean,
yes, yeah. That was, I would say, the most considered show overall layout of whatever I've done before, of anything I've done. Prior to that, it was almost like kind of mechanical, the way I oriented everything. It was kind of traditional, just things on pedestals, and I was really stuck to that for some reason. And this one, I just kind of let myself go. I was like, I just want to have fun. I just want to do in a show, a public space, what I do when I'm at home, right, in my studio.
Well, I remember a show that you did, that you had at, it might have been a group show at 500X, where near a window you had a large assemblage of materials. Yeah. Was it similar to that, in that you're able to play in a space?
Yes, big time. Yeah, that was definitely what I was doing.
Okay, and some people think about this and some people don't. Was your MFA show, not just as an MFA show, but like, was it a successful show in terms of your scope and trajectory?
I would say for that time it was probably about 87% successful.
87?
Yeah.
Okay.
Approximately. It came out, my intention, it was very sketched out. I was able to actualize it pretty much right on target. And then when I went back and looked at it, there was some things I would have changed, but it was pretty on target for it.
That's great.
As far as like visualized it, and it came through that way.
And what were your goals?
So my original goal was I wanted to be a self-portrait, a narrative, through not so much imagery of myself, but through like my energies, what those would look like, what my, I have some like early drawings from when I was 4 years old up to like days before the show that I worked on some pieces. Mm-hmm. So that whole span of me, that me-ness. And I originally started out, I was going to do a survey of work, and the more I started considering it and sketching it out, it turned more into this self-narrative. So going back to what you said, the narrative in this is very important.
When that's your goal, that is important. But
yes.
When it's maybe in a group show or something where it's not in that same context, the success is on a different scale.
I would say so, yeah. And in like these things I'm telling you, these are new, not revelations, but newer self-analysis I've had of myself. I'm maybe clearly seeing kind of where I'm at right now, and I'm able to, worked enough to where I can articulate what I'm doing and put it out there more clearly, whereas previously I had to like try it out, and oh, that worked, that didn't. Mm-hmm. So I haven't really done anything in group settings recently to know how it would fit into that environment.
Right.
But I have done some collaborations, and I felt a lot more confident working with somebody else, kind of giving up on myself and like, what's the other partner doing, mm-hmm. than I had been a while ago.
And because we're running out of time, I do want to get to your new project. You were mentioning earlier conducting several creativity enhancement workshops, as well as exercises to help people expand their imagination. What does this new project look like, and what can people expect from what you'll be doing?
Okay, this is something that I've wanted to do for quite some time. I don't know if I had really considered what this would be called or look like, but I'm gone back through my sketchbooks and I see these threads, of having this business to be an art mentor. And this is something different than you'd get from going to the university. This is different than going to like a creative art center, and it has the elements of like life coach. There's also more of a soul searching process, and so that's something, a need that I'm addressing to others, and something that I always wanted in myself when I was getting art education. And I felt like that was a little bit missing in my college experience. The purpose of art as discovering yourself.
Right.
Like we create, and it's not art therapy in the traditional sense of, like draw some stuff and do it, but you're actually like, we'll actually work with people as a guide, maybe as a psychopomp, to delve into themselves.
So whether it's leadership or collaboration, getting people to kind of realize where they're at.
Yes, definitely.
And how do people find out more about that?
So I'm still working on a website, but I have my emails available and my phone number, doing kind of a little guerrilla advertising. And it's funny because I have not even started advertising, and I guess the word to the universe kind of got out, and I've already gotten some feedback on this.
That's fantastic.
So I do creativity enhancement workshops that I've created.
Right. Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Based on my earlier sculpture works, and they synthesized into the creativity enhancement workshop. And I do those. I've done those previous projects with Big Thought recently, with the Dallas Children's Theater, and with the John Bunker Sands Wetland Center, and also Wade College of Design have been some of my past clients.
That's wonderful.
And so successful and very well received. I didn't even know how this was going to go.
Well, that's great, and we look forward to finding out more about the creativity enhancement workshops and also the art mentoring program from Val Curry. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight, and we'll obviously be sharing your information with the viewers.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You.
So Val Curry, sculptor, painter, and installation artist. This has been Conversations in the Void. I've been Justin Locklear. Thank you very much for watching.